Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta, y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor, y saber qué programación es tu favorita. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así, más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación. Muchas gracias.
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.
En el nuevo paradigma de la educación inclusiva no cabe la educación especial. Las estructuras educativas especiales han de migrar en un periodo razonable, no se puede hacer todo de la noche a la mañana, hacia estructuras y prácticas plenamente inclusivas para todo el alumnado, sin distinciones ni acepciones.
La Convención Internacional sobre los Derechos de las Personas con Discapacidad de la ONU de 2006 marca el punto de partida de la polémica por el cierre de los colegios de educación especial. El valor de la inclusión educativa es incuestionable y desde la educación especial se desarrollan multitud de procesos innovadores para asegurar esas oportunidades para alumnos con discapacidad.
No es admisible por más tiempo la segregación educativa por razón de discapacidad. Es un imperativo jurídico internacional de derechos humanos comprometido por España con la comunidad internacional y con el sistema de Naciones Unidas. En el caso de la discapacidad parece que forma parte del paisaje, que se acepta con naturalidad y que no provoca especial escándalo, pero no deja de ser una segregación por razón de una diferencia. Se trata de una violación grave de derechos humanos. Proponemos que en el plazo de 5 años desde que se adopte tendríamos ese lapso para migrar de estructuras no inclusivas a estructuras inclusivas. Que no se creen ni se pongan en servicio más centros de educación especial y que no se admitan más alumnos con discapacidad en los centros especiales, deberían ser declarados a extinguir, que subsistan hasta su completa desaparición.
Hola, soy el doctor Carlos Ferreira, abogado y locutor. Junto con Alexi Cañuzca y Coti Garrone hacemos Sin Barreras, un programa que intenta ser un granito de arena para aportar a la inclusión y la accesibilidad. Desde el Centro de Discapacitados de La Matanza, CEDIMA, en San Justo, Partido de La Matanza, República Argentina, llevamos toda la información, análisis y opinión de la problemática de las personas con discapacidad. Los esperamos.
Hola, bienvenidos a Cambiando el Mundo de Personas con Discapacidad.
Cambiaremos el mundo teniendo igualdad.
Mi nombre es Raquel Quesada y seré la presentadora del mismo. En el programa hablaremos de la no discriminación, la participación e inclusión plenas y efectiva en la sociedad, a la igualdad de oportunidades de los derechos y a la accesibilidad de las personas con discapacidad, el respeto a la evolución de las facultades de los niños y las niñas con discapacidad y sus derechos a preservar su dignidad, la inclusión, la sensibilidad, la educación, la diversidad. En este programa todos los sábados celebraremos la vida de las personas con discapacidad. Que juntos podemos cambiar el mundo de personas con discapacidad.
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006. A continuación, Footless Yo, más allá de una amputación. Presenta BECKWITH. Audio en inglés, subtítulos en castellano.
It's hard to deviate from what you know how to do, which is be a positive, bright person. To like let yourself really not be okay and expect people to stay for it. Ooh, that's a lot of coffee. Hold on. I'll steam clean it later. Hello there, my beautiful, lovely internet friends. Welcome back to today's very impromptu video. I felt compelled to speak about this subject, and by the title you may guess that it is a pretty heavy one. I'll put a couple disclaimers down below. If you want to continue to watch this video, fantastic. If you're not in the place for that, fantastic. Earlier this week, the news hit that Steven, Twitch boss, passed away. He lost his life to suicide, and this is not someone I was personally familiar with, but certainly knew some of their work from social media. I watched their videos and their dances, and the amount of absolute joy and energy and just bright light that this person exuded for years for so many people is impressive. It's beautiful. There are some videos that I watch and you just look at him and the way that he moves and the way he interacts with people, and you're like, that is a person being a human being, like being exactly who they were meant to be, and it is beautiful to watch. And then I saw post after post from people that I follow who personally knew him, and the personal impact, the fact that he was really an incredible human being, had such an amazing influence and impact and energy for so many people. And heartbreakingly, this person who is in so many ways the pinnacle of light was dealing with a lot of darkness and lost his life. I want to make a couple things really clear as I jump into this video. Number one, I am not speculating or commenting or anything on what was going on in his life or his mind, because I don't know, that's not my place. I would never do that. Number two, I'm going to speak really candidly about my experience with darkness and mental health and suicidal ideation. I need you to know that I am okay. This is stuff that I am talking about with the people that I need to be talking about it with. I am taking the steps that I need to take to make it. But I wanted to talk about why happy people kill themselves. Because here's the thing. I know from many, many messages that I've received and comments that I am seen in a somewhat similar light. Obviously not to the same extent or level, but I am told all of the time what a beautiful person I am, the light and brightness and energy that I bring. People see me in such a positive light, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. I know that I have a personality that is infectious to a lot of people and that can speak to a lot of people. I know that I can have a very substantial impact on my community, my little piece of the world. And I think that most people who know me casually, or even, you know, to a slightly deeper level, would tell you that yes, I, struggle, I'm honest about my mental health. I almost put that in quotes. You'll understand why later. But like, I'm resilient and I'm pushing through and I'm making it, and great. But I think one of the curses of having a very bright personality that people like, when you are also feeling the weight and the pull of a lot of very, very icky, heavy darkness, it gets confusing being that person. Over the last many months in particular, this has been one of the worst periods in my life where I kind of dealt with new mental health stuff that I didn't really know was there before. There's been a lot of darkness. There have been more days than I'm comfortable saying where I genuinely wasn't really sure if I was gonna make it to the next day. And sometimes the more that I see the positive impact that I have, the harder it becomes to stay alive. Because of one very important thing. As I have been alone for the first time in my life, I got divorced this year. I went through a lot of relationship across the board, friendship kind of changes. And as I have sat with myself, I have become very aware of the fact that loving me as me is not something that I know how to do very well. And it's really easy to hide from yourself. I'm not even talking about other people, but to like hide from yourself that reality when you can bring so much joy to other people. It's a coping mechanism. And to some extent, I think that you kind of double down on the making other people happy thing, because that's achievable, that's doable, you can put your hands around that. But like the making yourself happy thing, or the loving yourself thing, or the bringing that same joy to your own heart thing, you feel so utterly incapable of. instead of looking at that void, which feels like way too much to look at, you know, you just keep trying to give other people the thing that you actually need from yourself. Quick side note here, I want to talk about the moment that I had this realization, because I never thought I don't love myself. Maybe when I was like 12 or 13 going through like initial teenage angst, I had the very unique experience of someone seeing me very clearly and having the courage to express what they saw in an unfiltered way. It was actually Halloween night. I was grabbing a drink with kind of a new friend. We'd been talking for a couple of months, and I was expressing like some of the struggles that I was going through, and he talked about like loving yourself. And I was like, well, I mean, like, of course I love myself, you know. And he kind of stopped me and was like, no, Joe, you don't. People who love themselves don't do these things that you have been doing. And you know, like maybe when you know something or people have told you it 100 times, but it doesn't click until it clicks. In that moment, it fucking clicked for me. I started sobbing at the bar. Potentially embarrassing, but at that moment I really didn't care. Because he saw something in me and saw the behaviors that I'd been participating in, some of which were very, very self-destructive at that time, and was able to accurately convey to me something that rang so very uncomfortably true. The more good things that have come my way, the more good experiences and relationships, it has made me uncomfortably aware of the fact that I do not actually think I am deserving of any of those things. So when they are given to me, it feels wrong. It feels insincere. It feels like I shouldn't accept it. It feels like people don't know who I really am, because why would they see me in this positive way? And also when you have that personality type where you've developed the skills to bring a lot of joy to people, it becomes really hard to convey the depth of how not okay you are when A, it is your go-to coping skill set to make other people happy, and B, when people see you as full of so much light. So like, yeah, you might be struggling, but we all know you're going to be okay. Problem is that isn't always the case. And I say that specifically to say that this is a struggle that I have had. I don't know how to let sometimes even people who are very close to me in on anything other than the kind of scripted paragraph version of like, yeah, it's been really hard. I'm really struggling. You know, I don't know how to do this yet, but I'm here. Okay, now let's talk about whatever else. You know, it's like a coping mechanism to like put it out there, but then also to shift it back on other people, shift the focus back to more positive things or laughter or smiles or joy. And that is a me problem. That is not an other people problem, because I haven't yet learned how to like really fall apart and let people hold me, because that requires a lot of trust, a lot of vulnerability, and a lot of discomfort. It's hard to deviate from what you know how to do, which is be a positive, bright person, to like let yourself really not be okay and expect people to stay for it. And like, as I say all of this, there's people who will probably be watching this video who are my friends, who I know, who I love, who I know would do so much for me if I let them, but I don't know how to let them yet. I don't know how to accept that. I don't know how to sustainably let someone meet me where I am without trying to put myself back together so it's less uncomfortable for everybody. And these are all learned behaviors. We all have our survival tactics and how we survive in the world and the ways that we have evolved to make life work. And I think one of my primary ones is functioning in a way that is very beneficial to those who see me, which I love doing, which is not inauthentic, but it is not sufficient to just rely on that. Like, there has to be more. There has to be more for you. Here's the thing. I think any reason to stay alive is a solid one. Do that. If you are struggling and anything feels like something to hold on to, hold the hell on to it. Oftentimes that can be other people, people we love, not wanting to cause them harm or heartache. Sometimes that's holding on to, you know, the future or what it could be. Sometimes it's dumb things like wanting to watch the end of a TV show that hasn't finished yet. All valid, all good. But there are some times for me when all of that just ceases to matter. Like, I cannot stay alive for other people any longer, which brings me to the very uncomfortable reality that I have to find a reason for me. Because at the end of the day, that's all I've got. I cannot only stay alive because I make other people happy. I cannot only stay alive to save other people from harm. I need to find a way to keep me here for me also. And I haven't totally put my finger on what that is just yet. I will find my way through this. I know that I will. I just don't have a friggin' clue how yet, which is the key and operating word that I want to get tattooed on me in really big letters, just so I remember in those dark moments that like, you don't have it yet. You haven't figured it out yet. You aren't okay yet, but like it's going to get there. And I trust that, especially in the moments when it sounds really dumb, especially in the moments when I'm like, you're full of shit. Yet is stupid. It's never gonna be okay, especially in those moments. I hold on to the fact that I know depression is a really effective liar. It's really good at messing my brain up and twisting how I see the world. But finding a reason that is internal when you are in a lot of pain to hang on for you is one of the most challenging things. I think another element of this is success. So I have been incredibly lucky to experience a lot of success over the past couple of years, especially when it comes to what I do professionally, what I do here on social media. Some of like the craziest things that I could think of have come true. And again, kind of talking about the larger issue of people who are, very successful or rich or famous or whatever it is, but just experience amazing things and have success. Like, how could they not want to live anymore? It doesn't make sense from the outside. But living within it and having experienced the stupid liar that darkness is, the more you experience success and amazing things, and if you, A, don't feel like you deserve them, but B, realize that they are not as fulfilling as you expected them to be, that also starts to get pretty scary, because sometimes the reason to keep going is like, I want to achieve that goal, I want to see that thing, I want to meet that person, I want to do this thing for me or for other people, and then you get there and you realize you still feel like shit. There's like a very temporary, wow, that was cool, and then you're back to your baseline where at the end of the day you are stuck with yourself and no one else in those moments. And one of the big red flags for me when it comes to my mental health is when I lose the ability to picture a future where I'm okay, where this overwhelming feeling of hopelessness and numbness and just, I don't even have words for it, very harmful thoughts. I literally can't imagine a life where I don't feel that all the time. So I start thinking, okay, what do I want to do? What's the most amazing thing that could happen? Okay, if that came true, I would still feel like this. So what is the point? Why would I work towards anything when it's all empty? And as I say that out loud, I know that's not true, yet it feels it, because I am not in a great mental place. And I know enough about my brain to know that when I cease to be able to imagine positive things for myself, big indication that I need to make sure I have pieces in my life in place to save me from myself, which is exactly what I am doing and have done. Until I want to save me from myself again and my brain clears and I am able to do a better job of keeping me here in a healthy way. But when that starts feeling a little bit meaningless, that's when I know I have to really start doing some uncomfortable work, trying to look at the fact that I don't know how to be okay for me. Not for other people. I'm good at that. I'm really good at being okay for other people. I don't know how to be okay for me. I don't know how to want to take care of myself yet. And it's kind of embarrassing to be like, I kind of realized that I don't love myself. I feel like I should. I feel like I have a lot of reasons that I could, but there's also a lot of trauma and a lot of darkness and a lot of stuff that gets complicated in my head. And I realize that I don't know how to do this yet. I don't know how to want to stick around for me yet. I don't know how to accept good things yet. I don't know how to have these incredible experiences and not feel worse after sometimes. I am having one of the hardest times that I've ever had. The rate at which I go from, I am fantastic, I am doing so good, God, this was a great day, to like 30 minutes later, really not knowing what I might actually do from such a dark, overwhelmed place. It's terrifying. And this is again something that I am in a lot of counseling and have support for. It is so utterly heartbreaking when we lose anybody to mental health struggles. And I think on a societal level, it's a special level of heartbreaking when that person is someone who has brought so much to the world, who has brought so much joy and light. I don't know if this is all very weird to talk about or not, but I wanted to put this together in video form for a variety of reasons. Hopefully for me, that I'll look back on this video however long from now and be like, that was a hard time and you figured out a reason to stick around for you. That was a really hard time, but you did it and I'm proud of you. I'm choosing to believe that moment will come and choosing to believe I will find a way to get there, even if it feels like a joke right now. Because I know I can. I know I will. I just don't know how yet. Maybe, I think I'm gonna call up my tattoo artist and like get yet tattooed on me somewhere like today. I'm getting a lot of tattoos lately, guys. Is it the best coping skill? Maybe. Like if there's something that's gonna keep me here, even if it's dumb, I'm gonna do that right now because nothing means anything if I'm not here. And so I'm trying to find those healthier coping skills. That was a weird tangent. Anyways, I think I'm gonna call my tattoo artist and get a tattoo today. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you sitting with me and listening. I think a lot of what I've spoken about is so not unique to me. I think it is very universal. Hopefully not actually universal. Like I don't think everyone feels this way, but I know I'm not alone in it, though I certainly often feel that way. And so to those who relate to this, I'm here with you. You're not alone. I'm not either. If you just listen to listen, I also really appreciate that because it's a very loving thing to do. So thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and unceremoniously close out this video. I feel like I need to repeat again because I've talked really bluntly about some things in this video that this is not a video meant to cause concern. This has been going on for quite some time and I know I will be okay. I just don't know how to get there yet. There's a way through darkness for all of us, and if you're in the midst of it, I wish you Godspeed in finding your way to the other side as I work my way there as well. Did the leg fall on you? I'm so sorry. Think you're gonna survive? I think he's gonna make it. Okay, so let's, oh God, my leg just fell on me. That's quite a sentence, isn't it? Okay, so we're gonna go on a few field trips today. I'm gonna do a little show and tell and also talk you through why, even if it is intensely physically uncomfortable, I will usually keep my leg on at all costs if I am out and about outside of my home. First things first, if I am going to a coffee shop to work, which I commonly do to do some editing, take care of emails, things of that nature, I'll grab my coffee, sit down, and I'll usually be sitting somewhere for hours at a time. That is, in theory, the perfect situation to take my leg off, get cozy and comfy. But very often I will avoid doing that for a very specific reason. Vulnerability and danger.
Oh, hello there. It's Editing Joe. Important piece of context. If the rest of this video sounds a little overdramatic and a little bit paranoid, it might be. I went through some pretty substantial emotional, physical, sexual trauma earlier in my life, like a decade ago, and there are a lot of behaviors that stemmed from that also feed into this, where I realize the world is not a safe place. I won't sit with my back to a door, things like that. So I don't think all of these are necessary, but they are definitely how I function in this world.
In this video, I'm just going to be talking about my own experience for me. I know other amputees handle this a variety of different ways, but for me personally, if I take my leg off, I have now removed my ability to get out of a situation quickly if I need to. I have also, to some extent, identified myself as perhaps more of a target to anyone with nefarious thoughts or actions in mind, because I cannot exit a situation as quickly as, perhaps someone with two neat legs. Super unfortunately, people with visible disabilities are often seen as targets way more than the average person. I'm gonna put some statistics up on screen that are gonna be really encouraging for all of us. But I live in a generally safe part of town. I'm generally going to safe sorts of areas. The reality is you can never predict what's gonna happen ever. For instance, if there was perhaps a natural disaster like a fire or something like that, the additional time that it would take me to put on my prosthetic leg could be the difference between life and death. Is that maybe overdramatic? Probably. Is it also still possible and a thing that does occur? Yes. It actually doesn't take that long to get my leg on and off, right? Probably like, I don't know, 15 seconds. If I'm taking my time with it. Again, that's not the most comfortable thing to do, but additionally, if I'm in some, foreign environment with variables that I'm not sure about, it just makes me uncomfortable to have to be bending over, putting something on, hoping it fits right before I can move. So when I walk into any situation, there are a few things I consider. Number one, are there people around me who I know would help me if anything happened? That is generally limited to people that I actually know. So if I am somewhere with a family member, with a friend, I'm probably gonna be more likely to take my leg off because I have assistance in the case of something going down. Over the past year, I've had to do a lot of traveling and a lot
lot of that has been alone. I've actually never traveled alone before, aside from 2022 basically, and making my way through airports, I was often in a lot of pain because of the pressure changes of flights, carrying, my backpack and hauling my suitcase around, and my leg would get in so much pain. But I was in completely foreign environments with people I did not know all around me. And the amount of discomfort that brought, knowing that if I took my leg off and something happened, it would be harder for me to get out of that situation, I usually just keep my leg on. Next, let's talk about driving places. So driving is one of those situations where, again, it is exponentially more comfortable if I just take my leg off. I'm sitting stationary in one place for a long time. That causes pressure and pain and sometimes blood flow issues. So just having it off entirely is way more helpful. However, the destination of where I might be going and how long it's going to take until I get there is a big piece of the thought process. If I know that, for instance, I'm going to have to stop for gas soon, I will not take my leg off if, pain allows and I can avoid it, because I have to get out of my car and stand up without my leg on to be able to put it on and then walk around, pump my gas. And that feels like a very vulnerable situation. I'm around strangers in public, and I am clearly less mobile, especially in those moments of putting my leg on, than other people. And it definitely feels vulnerable and uncomfortable. Here's another factor that doesn't usually get to me, but there are some days when it still rattles around in the back of my mind. This looks different. This attracts attention, it attracts a lot of stares, it attracts questions. Not that me wearing my prosthetic leg doesn't, because certainly we all know it does, but not only have very few people had extensive interactions or seen amputees around that much, but even more than that, it is very rare that you have ever seen someone sitting somewhere completely without a limb. And if I'm sitting here talking in front of a camera or I'm with people I know, love, and trust, I have no problem taking my leg off because they know me, it's fine, and also I don't really care in that situation. But in public, the level of adults specifically staring and this sometimes weird energy skyrockets pretty substantially if I don't have my leg on. Now, going back to what I was talking about earlier with there being a much higher chance of someone trying to do something to you physically, especially if you are a female who is disabled, that is one of the biggest reasons why I train for combat without a leg. I've been training in jiu-jitsu for years, and I've recently really dove headfirst back into it. And jiu-jitsu, I do not wear my leg. It's not safe for myself or other people to be rolling around on the ground with a piece of metal that could knock somebody out. But additionally, I also want to know how to handle myself if I ever got stuck in a situation where I didn't have my leg was taken from me, it was off for some reason, and something bad was happening. As much as is within my ability, I want to make sure I'm prepared for that. Not that it is remotely a guarantee of not getting hurt or injured in some way, but if there is anything that I can do to feel more comfortable, to feel more confident, totally limbless on one side, I'm gonna do that. And additionally, I also think it's kind of interesting that people usually see you as weak and helpless if you don't have a leg, right? But having the personal understanding that there is actually quite a lot that I can do without my leg on. Along with being a good tool, it also kind of helps me carry myself a little bit differently and know that I am more prepared for that kind of a situation. Let's take this one step further. If you have watched any of my videos for a while, you have probably seen this. That's right, my uncovered nubbin. And when I am in the comfort of my own home, sitting in front of a camera, this doesn't weird me out at all. I think it's interesting to share information. I think it's something people generally haven't seen. I think it's a good source of education. Also, it's usually just more comfortable to sit without anything on my limb. However, in real life, this is still a pretty big insecurity. I know that might sound funny considering that I'm showing you thousands of people are gonna see this, and that doesn't bother me for a single gosh darn second. But even sometimes with friends that I've had for a long time, I will, and I don't love this, it's something I'm still working through, but I will not uncover my leg in front of people unless I really freaking know you, I really freaking trust you, and even then, sometimes I still get weird about it. In real life with people around me, this feels extraordinarily emotionally vulnerable because I think in those moments it's hard not to be aware of how different I look than the people around me, especially things like getting into a pool, the ocean, a hot tub, anything like that. I am never more exposed and feel more vulnerable than having nothing on. This almost, to some extent, feels like undressing in front of people. And so in some ways, it's sort of like a token of trust and, emotional intimacy if I feel comfortable enough to do this. But additionally, I'm also not gonna take my liner off unless I'm somewhere for a long time, primarily because it's just another step to get my leg back on if I have to start moving again eventually. And usually most days, this isn't that uncomfortable to wear. So here's another little factor. Getting this puppy on and off, it is not the end of the world. It doesn't take that long, but but it is not exactly comfortable. The process of forcing my limb down into this not movable socket, I feel discomfort, I feel nerve pain, I feel pressure. It takes a moment to kind of adjust. I have to step on my leg a few times to kind of get to activate the section so it starts feeling more comfortable. And so unless I'm actually going to be somewhere for a long enough period of time that I'm willing to deal with the discomfort of taking it off and putting it back on, I'll usually just leave it on. I also really like not having an additional step to be able to like go grab a glass of water or, you know, go up to the cash register or whatever it is. I can't actually remember if I've touched on this in other videos or not before, but there is a huge difference in the way I carry myself if I am in a familiar environment or with people I know, love, and trust. If I am out somewhere on my own, generally speaking, I don't limp. I carry myself like tall, shoulders back, eyes forward, very consciously try to move with intention and confidence. Traditionally, over the course of my life, I have not been a particularly assertive person, but in the way that I carry my body, I get a lot more assertive if I am alone. Again, this just comes from like discomfort from living in the world that we live in and never knowing what I might run into. As much as I can, I want to project confidence and motion and movement. And even if my leg is hurting, I will usually move as if it doesn't until I can get to an environment where I feel safe to limp or be like, oh my God, I'm in pain, or just rip my leg off entirely. I don't think this is necessarily. That was redundant, but it definitely is something that I do and I have done pretty much since I got my prosthetic leg. I'm really lucky that being an amputee is not a huge source of insecurity for me, but there are definitely pieces that are. And kind of the public interaction when I am alone is one of those things that I am always analyzing every possible aspect of a situation. How likely is it that I have to get out of this building quickly? How safe are the people around me? How generally safe is this part of town? Do I know anyone? Is anyone with me? Is anyone close by who could help? How long is it gonna take me to get my leg back on and get out if something happens? And here's the reality, for the most part, most situations are generally safe. But I've also had enough experiences in my life, both with people with bad intentions and also natural disasters, that I know that they can occur. There are some days when I feel like I don't have the mental energy to constantly analyze everything. I'm just kind of like, screw it. I'm gonna choose to be comfortable here. End of story. I don't care if people stare. I know how to handle myself well enough. I can get my leg on fast enough for most things. But I do feel like one of the things that people who do not have disabilities, whether visible or invisible, don't really understand is the amount of mental energy that existence can take, the planning ahead, the assessing a situation, just all of the thought process and the pre-planning that goes into pretty much anywhere that you are all of the time. And I expect over time, a lot of this will ease. But honestly, I don't know. The pieces of it that are rooted in insecurity or not wanting to be stared at have definitely lessened over time, because thankfully I care less and less about any of that. But I'm not sure if it'll ever be totally gone, and certainly the safety aspects of analyzing, should I have my leg on or can I take it off here, will be ongoing. Thank you so much again to our sponsor for sponsoring today's video. You can check them out in the link down below. My beautiful patrons over on Patreon, you guys are amazing. I really appreciate your generosity. Thank you for your support there. And to you, lovely viewer watching this video, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to hang out with me here, to maybe learn about a piece of life you hadn't heard about before, to listen to me talk. You could be anywhere else in the world doing anything else, but you chose to hang out with me for a few minutes, and I really appreciate that. I love you guys, I'm thinking about you, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah! Bye guys.
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.
Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta, y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor y saber qué programación es tu favorita. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así, más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación. Muchas gracias.
En el nuevo paradigma de la educación inclusiva no cabe la educación especial. Las estructuras educativas especiales han de migrar en un periodo razonable, no se puede hacer todo de la noche a la mañana, hacia estructuras y prácticas plenamente inclusivas para todo el alumnado, sin distinciones ni acepciones.
La Convención Internacional sobre los Derechos de las Personas con Discapacidad de la ONU de 2006 marca el punto de partida de la polémica por el cierre de los colegios de educación especial. El valor de la inclusión educativa es incuestionable y desde la educación especial se desarrollan multitud de procesos innovadores para asegurar esas oportunidades para alumnos con discapacidad.
No es admisible por más tiempo la segregación educativa por razón de discapacidad. Es un imperativo jurídico internacional de derechos humanos comprometido por España con la comunidad internacional y con el sistema de Naciones Unidas. En el caso de la discapacidad parece que forma parte del paisaje, que se acepta con naturalidad y que no provoca especial escándalo, pero no deja de ser una segregación por razón de una diferencia. Se trata de una violación grave de derechos humanos. Proponemos que en el plazo de 5 años desde que se adopte tendríamos ese lapso para migrar de estructuras no inclusivas a estructuras inclusivas. Que no se creen ni se pongan en servicio más centros de educación especial y que no se admitan más alumnos con discapacidad en los centros especiales, deberían ser declarados a extinguir, que subsistan hasta su completa desaparición.
Hola, soy el doctor Carlos Ferreira, abogado y locutor. Junto con Alexi Cañuzca y Coti Garrone hacemos Sin Barreras, un programa que intenta ser un granito de arena para aportar a la inclusión y la accesibilidad. Desde el Centro de Discapacitados de La Matanza, CEDIMA, en San Justo, Partido de La Matanza, República Argentina, llevamos toda la información, análisis y opinión de la problemática de las personas con discapacidad. Los esperamos.
Hola, bienvenidos a Cambiando el Mundo de Personas con Discapacidad.
Cambiaremos el mundo teniendo igualdad.
Mi nombre es Raquel Quesada y seré la presentadora del mismo. En el programa hablaremos de la no discriminación, la participación e inclusión plenas y efectiva en la sociedad, a la igualdad de oportunidades de los derechos y a la accesibilidad de las personas con discapacidad, el respeto a la evolución de las facultades de los niños y las niñas con discapacidad y sus derechos a preservar su dignidad, la inclusión, la sensibilidad, la educación, la diversidad. En este programa todos los sábados celebraremos las vidas de las personas con discapacidad. Que juntos podemos cambiar el mundo de personas con discapacidad.
¿Qué es la educación inclusiva? Es aquella que genera oportunidades de participación y aprendizaje donde se apuesta por entornos adecuados para que todos los niños y niñas aprendan juntos, independientemente de sus condiciones personales, sociales o culturales. El artículo 16 de la Constitución Política del Perú, el artículo 24 de la Convención sobre los Derechos de la Persona con Discapacidad y el artículo 35 de la Ley número 29973, Ley General de la Persona con Discapacidad, establecen el derecho al acceso a la educación de los niños y niñas con discapacidad en sus 3 niveles, primaria, secundaria y superior inclusiva, con los ajustes razonables según lo requiera. El acceso a la educación es vital para la formación de las personas con discapacidad. Allí se logran forjar habilidades y conocimientos para un posterior desarrollo laboral y profesional, generando así una sociedad más inclusiva.
Gobierno del Perú. El Perú primero. Un hombre lava el auto en la vereda. Se acerca una mujer ciega con su bebé en brazos.
Mira que es un garage. Pasa por allá.
Un auto cruzado en la vereda es una barrera.
Un joven en silla de ruedas y el entrenador.
Bueno, este es nuestro querido club.
Me gustó el club.
Está muy bueno. Lo único, vas a tener que venir cambiado a tu casa, porque los vestuarios son subiendo esa escalera.
Que solo haya escaleras es una barrera.
Hola, Anita. ¿Me das un cuarto de pan? Anita, ¿vos vas al cole?
Pauli, tengo 42 años. Soy más grande que vos. Infantilizada. Es una barrera.
Una mujer avanza por un supermercado.
Permiso. Permiso. ¿Qué sos, sordo, que no te moves?
Sos todo.
La mujer se disculpa.
Los prejuicios son barreras.
Avancemos hacia una sociedad sin barreras. Agencia Nacional de Discapacidad. Argentina Presidencia.
Gracias al esfuerzo de parlamentarios, se aprobó una moción parlamentaria que hace una cosa súper concreta y que como gobierno tenemos que promulgar, que es que hoy día, si tú te estacionas en un estacionamiento para personas con discapacidad o impides el acceso o utilizas parte del espacio, la sanción aumentó. ¿Cuál va a ser ahora? Vas a tener que pagar entre 50.000 pesos y 75.000 pesos de multa y además el juez puede suspenderte la licencia si es que has cometido otra infracción grave en el año. Por lo tanto, de la situación anterior, que era una multa mucho inferior y que no había suspensión de licencia, tenemos hoy día una sanción más dura que hace que tengamos incentivos correctos para que la gente no ocupe los estacionamientos de las personas con discapacidad. Esperamos que los chilenos tengamos conciencia de esto, pero además ya tenemos sanciones más duras para aquellos que no son capaces de entender este mensaje.
Sí. ¿Venís un segundo, por favor? ¿Cómo va todo?
Todo bien.
¿Bien? Genial, me alegro. Bueno, hoy se va a estar sumando un chico nuevo al equipo.
Bien.
Así que quiero que lo ayudemos, viste que el primer día no es fácil para nadie.
No.
Vos vas a ser el encargado de explicarle cómo funcionan las cosas.
Bien.
Tengámosle paciencia, viste que la adaptación no es fácil.
No, claro, obvio.
Si hay que explicarle las cosas 2 veces.
Se las explicamos 2 veces.
Sí, si hay que explicárselas 3 veces.
3 veces.
3 veces, perfecto. Mira, justo ahí viene.
Hola.
Hola. Mati, él es Juli.
Hola.
Juli va a ser el encargado de presentarte a los chicos del equipo y mostrarte cómo funciona todo por acá. Así que bueno, si quieren ir yendo.
Vamos, te muestro todo.
Juli. Vamos a sentir uno más, ¿dale?
Sí. Freidora.
Y esta es la tostadora.
Bien, exacto. Bueno, en ese osito, poné la bebida.
¿La bebida?
Ah, sí, sí. Saben con el vainilla. No importa, tranquilo.
Salón Blanco de la Andis, distintas personas se encuentran sentadas y de pie enfrente de una mesa con autoridades. Habla Fernando Galarraga, director ejecutivo de la agencia.
Hoy, con la presencia de abuelas de Plaza de Mayo, estamos rescatando la memoria de personas con discapacidad que dieron su vida, su lucha, su testimonio para garantizar los derechos de sus pares.
Imágenes del espacio para la memoria Andis.
Mi nombre es Alejandro Alonso, yo fui integrante y soy sobreviviente del Frente de Lisiados Peronistas, y para mí es muy importante que la agencia haya dado este espacio para la memoria y la reivindicación de aquella lucha y de aquella gesta de los años 70, donde los compañeros con discapacidad se pusieron de pie e hicieron historia al lograr la ley laboral más importante de América Latina.
El músico argentino Ignacio Copani canta y toca su guitarra durante la inauguración de la muestra.
Fundamentalmente una apuesta a la memoria, que es la base para la construcción de una Argentina con mayor inclusión.
Primero la gente. Agencia Nacional de Discapacidad.
Mi nombre es Jesús Albeiro Urbano, soy del municipio de Santa Cruz, Guachávez, vivo en una vereda que se llama El Pedregal. Soy sobreviviente de una mina antipersonal, perdí mis 2 piernas. Desde ahí quedé en una silla de ruedas. Yo pensaba que ya era una persona que de pronto no servía para nada, pero gracias a la ayuda de mi familia, de mi novia, yo me superé y siempre he querido darles como a la gente un ejemplo de vida, que uno en condición de discapacidad sí puede salir adelante. Yo tenía unos ahorros por ahí y me compré un carro y lo hice adaptar a la mano. Entonces yo tengo una van y ahí transporto 17 niños a una guardería. Cuando yo era niño, mi mayor sueño era estudiar y tener una profesión, pero por cosas de la vida, la pobreza, mi papá no tenía los recursos. Terminé el 5º de primaria y me retiré. Y siempre quería entrar a estudiar a una universidad. Para mí, la Escuela Superior de la ESAP, ¿cómo les puedo decir? Como un regalo de Dios, o no sé, ¿no? Porque esta universidad llega a este municipio, es un municipio pequeño. Esto es una oportunidad como para las personas que de pronto no tenemos los recursos para salir a una ciudad. Entonces es bueno estudiar y que tengan el conocimiento y no se desanimen por nada, y que el estudio es lo más bonito que tenemos en la vida.
ESAP, Escuela Superior de Administración Pública. El servicio público es de todos. Función pública.
Diversidad es México. Personas con discapacidad. En México hay cerca de 6.180.000 personas con discapacidad, lo que representa el 4.9% de la población total, siendo la mayoría mujeres, con el 53%, y hombres, el 47% restante. El INEGI identifica a las personas con discapacidad como aquellas que tienen dificultad para llevar a cabo actividades consideradas básicas. Las más comunes son caminar, 48%, ver, 44%, oír, 22%, bañarse, vestirse o comer, 19%, recordar o concentrarse, 19%, y hablar o comunicarse, 15%. Aunado a ello, la discriminación es un aspecto que también sufren las personas con discapacidad, ya que 1 de cada 4 personas la ha padecido. Y según la Encuesta Nacional sobre Discriminación, ENADIS 2017, las principales problemáticas que enfrentan son calles, instalaciones y transportes públicos inadecuados, 31.1%, falta de oportunidad para encontrar empleo, 30%. Costo en cuidados, terapias y tratamientos, 21.5%. Este grupo de la población también enfrenta condiciones pronunciadas de exclusión. De acuerdo con resultados del ENADIS 2017, de las personas de 18 años o más encuestadas, el 25.4% de los hombres y 23.8% de las mujeres creen que las personas con discapacidad son de poca ayuda en el trabajo. Por ello, Es fundamental la promoción y protección de sus derechos humanos para lograr su plena inclusión en la sociedad y puedan desarrollarse en condiciones de igualdad y dignidad. Todas y todos debemos respetar los derechos de las personas con discapacidad. Diversidad es México. Comisión Nacional de los Derechos Humanos. Defendemos al pueblo.
Si decidieras quitarme todo e incluso no amarme más, si decidieras no perdonarme ni cuidarme, si decidieras no proveer hasta dejar de protegerme, sería yo capaz de amarte igual. Si no vinieras a dar tu vida y darle un rumbo a la mía, si te aferraras a tu grandeza siendo Dios, oh, si no me dieras lo que te pido hasta dejarme en el olvido, sería yo capaz de amarte igual. Desde ya quiero que el mundo sepa que no te busco por conveniencia. Si estoy aquí no es coincidencia, pues eres dueño de mi existencia y yo te amo. Sin entenderlo, pero yo te amo. No se trata de lo que me das ni de lo que haces. Y yo te porque eres mi Dios, te amo porque eres mi Padre, te amo porque eres mi Dios.
Hola, Capo, ¿cómo estás? Es hora de una fiesta loca.
No son fiestitas infantiles, son fiestas, bailes, el boliche, como le dicen ellos, donde cada uno tiene su lugar y su espacio y su momento.
Es una fiesta con personas con discapacidad.
Y solo son para bailar, joda. Hace un montón que bailo acá en la fiesta Kiki y me siento muy feliz y de estar acá con todos mis amigos.
Mi nombre es Tamara Garzón, soy la creadora de esta maravillosa fiesta, la fiesta Kiki, que es una fiesta para personas con discapacidad, cuyo objetivo es escaparle a la infantilización de la discapacidad y darles a ellos y a ellas la fiesta que se merecen. Esta idea nació en pandemia. Yo tengo una escuela de teatro musical para personas con discapacidad, que surgió también a partir de tener a dos hermanos con síndrome de Down. Empezó en pandemia por Zoom, porque los padres me decían, estoy desesperado, necesito que mis hijos bailen, y a mí se me ocurrió y me dije, les armo un Zoom, y la verdad es que vi que se copaban, pero mal, cada uno se armaba su propio boliche en su casa, incluida yo, y nos hizo muy bien, nos acompañó durante toda la pandemia, y a partir de ese fiestón que se armó en la pandemia, es que también surgió la idea de traerla a la presencialidad cuando se habilitó todo.
Soy la mamá de María Josefina, me llamo Viviana. Josefina tiene 22 años. Y es su espacio, su lugar, su momento. Viene feliz, espera que sea el fin de semana para venir a la fiesta Kiki. No hay muchos lugares como para que uno esté tranquilo de que ellos estén disfrutando.
Yo soy el papá de Candela, Federico. Mi hija Candela tiene 21 años y está viniendo en las fiestas Kiki desde hace casi 2 años. Me gusta a mí porque tiene un espacio para ella.
Y me di cuenta que era realmente algo que faltaba, y cada vez estamos haciendo que crezca más y que le llegue realmente a toda la gente, porque hay mucha gente que desconoce de esta posibilidad.
Os vamos a contar una historia.
la historia de Yara, Mario, Luca, Yaiza, Elia, Dani y de muchos otros niños y niñas que acudimos a la ludoteca inclusiva del Centro de Atención Infantil y Juvenil de APAM.
Aquí nuestro objetivo es jugar y sobre todo hacerlo con lo que queramos y entre nosotros. Lo que pasa es que a veces parece que estamos jugando al teléfono estropeado y no nos entendemos entre nosotros. Y menudo lío se crea cuando jugamos.
No tiene gafas.
¿Es una bicicleta?
Sí. No estoy entiendo. No entiendo.
Ya sé.
¿Soy un instrumento? Sí, soy un instrumento. ¿Es de madera? ¿Tiene coleta? Soy un tambor.
Y en otras ocasiones los juguetes temen por su vida.
New York City is crazy! People, cars, bikers, dogs on leashes, tourists. It's a crazy thing to see. But what if you couldn't see it? We wanted to know what it's like for over 350,000 blind or visually impaired New Yorkers who've been experiencing New York City in a very different way than we have. This is a day in the life of a blind person in New York City. Today we're in Bed-Stuy. We're going to spend our day with Yvonne, who is a blind New Yorker.
Hey, this is Alex.
I'm Alex.
Hi,
how got
are
the
you?
camera going.
Okay, let's go.
Yvonne is a lifelong caretaker. Before she lost her vision, Yvonne raised her 3 kids and fostered around 30 more in this very house. She and her husband Ferris, a limo driver, have lived here for 24 years.
I see you taking pictures of my baby.
Yeah, hanging out with the lovely Yvonne today.
She's an amazing woman. I hope you can keep up with her.
Even though Yvonne lost most of her vision 16 years ago, she still learned how to cook and clean up after herself. She uses tools like her Alexa to hear the weather in the morning and her Apple Watch to make phone calls. We don't have to be anywhere until 10 a.m., but today, Yvonne got up at 5. She's an hour early for everything.
If I tried to rush, I could drop my beret. So then the panic comes. Where is it? You know, so that's why you don't want to rush.
At 7:15, it's time to head into the city for a busy day.
What is it like to walk through New York City, a busy New York City street with that cane?
A lot of people don't know what this cane means. So you hit a couple people.
For pre-planned trips like this, New York City provides Access-A-Ride, which helps New Yorkers who aren't able to use public transportation get around for the price of a subway ticket. Almost every day of the week, Yvonne goes to the Vision Center right here in the Chelsea neighborhood in Manhattan. They offer a whole bunch of services for the blind and visually impaired. When you're blind, having routines is incredibly important. You can learn patterns and tricks for getting places that you know well. So before her classes at Visions, Yvonne goes to the same place for breakfast every morning.
Bacon, eggs, and cheese. Is this to go? Yes.
So by counting these grates in the sidewalk, Yvonne knows exactly how far it is to get back to the Vision Center. It's 4 grates. There's number 3. Before going blind, Yvonne was a busy New Yorker just like the rest of us. She had 2 jobs, a whole lot of people to take care of. But then one morning she woke up and couldn't see.
I was very frightened. I was crying. And then my husband took me to the doctor. And so it was one of these things where you don't even want to open your eyes because you don't want to know you can't see.
Yvonne was left completely blind in her right eye and only has very little vision in her left eye.
I just stayed in the bed. I was very depressed. I got into a depression.
As Yvonne's vision left, so did her sense of purpose. She believed she'd never again be able to do the things she loved. But at Visions, she found a community that helped her adapt and thrive. She learned tools for mobility, household tips, useful skills like Braille.
She gets on me because I'm practicing now.
And joined a community of hundreds of people experiencing New York without vision.
Hi, I'm good. That's Francine? Yeah. Okay. It was like just a new family. So I just started coming alive.
She learned she was far more capable than she believed. And pretty soon, Yvonne became a teacher for other visually impaired students.
What's going on?
All right, it's 10 a.m. Students are filing in. It is about time to get started with dance class and aerobics class.
And today, we're gonna put on this blindfold so we can have the slightest idea of what it's like to be blind, starting with dance and aerobics class.
Is that right?
Okay, so right now Yvonne is leading this class. Brian is taking it. He's blindfolded, and it's an interesting thing to watch Brian because he's doing his best, but if he gets disoriented at all, he just has no idea where he is. Brian, turn 90 degrees to your right. There you go.
It was scary. It was lonely. I felt very disconnected from the world around me.
I want to see some movement.
And there was something amazing about when we all started using the rattles. When I couldn't see, they were a lifeline. They were telling me, hey, I'm surrounded by people and we're all listening to the same music. Now I'm using my other senses to understand that I am still connected to this world.
At 2:30, Yvonne leads a class called Exploring Chelsea.
Every week we go to a different place to see what's around the Chelsea area.
Today is ice cream day, which is amazing if Alex can get there. It's his turn to try out the blindfold on the crazy streets of Manhattan.
I just feel like I'm gonna fall through a manhole or crash into a window or a person or step in poop.
Just go totally straight.
I don't know what straight is.
You're doing it. There's a pole. My bad.
Jesus. Ryan.
There's a bike lane.
God.
I'm trying. Your next step is a curve. Okay.
That was really scary. This is all really scary for me right now.
Okay. Alex, put your hand there.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, now what do I do?
Okay, now you have ice cream in your hand.
Yay.
You know what to do from here. How well do you feel like you know Chelsea?
I don't know Chelsea. That's why I developed this class, so I could get out.
So I'll just sit here, be here with my thoughts of what the heck's happening around me. That's pretty much all I'm thinking about. What is happening around me and where are things happening?
For the way back, Yvonne offers Alex her cane.
Can you hear the traffic on your right side?
Yeah, cross us. Yeah.
That means you can't cross.
Right.
It took me a little bit to say I'm blind because that's not where I wanted to be. I learned by accepting my disability is better.
I imagine once you said, okay, this is what it is, and you said I got to do my best here.
Yes.
What do you remember about the Malibu Diner?
Well, I remember it has a green blue awning, but I can't see that right now.
Okay, it's purple.
And there's 4 basement covers until Visions. 2.
Oh, that's 3.
Let's hit 4.
That's 4.
Wow. That was a journey.
Right?
Yeah, that was a journey. There was a lot of anxiety and fear in that, and Yvonne was a very calming guide and teacher. She was like a Yoda.
Being blind is really tough, but it hasn't stopped Yvonne and 350,000 other New Yorkers from learning, from living, from taking care of people, from being New Yorkers, just like the rest of us.
I don't want no one to hinder me to say that what I cannot do.
Yvonne said her biggest thing that this has given her is courage to go out in the world and to face those fears, because when she's out there and she's crossing the street, those fears aren't gone. It's just that she's developed the courage to deal with them.
When I help other people, it gives me more courage to go on and do more for myself. You know, they don't know it, but other people encourage me. I see them dealing with their problem to the best of their ability, and that's what I try to do, just to help people, and it helps me. I'm Yvonne, and this is the day of my life. Rally on!
En el nuevo paradigma de la educación inclusiva no cabe la educación especial. Las estructuras educativas especiales han de migrar en un periodo razonable, no se puede hacer todo de la noche a la mañana, hacia estructuras y prácticas plenamente inclusivas para todo el alumnado, sin distinciones ni acepciones.
La Convención Internacional sobre los Derechos de las Personas con Discapacidad de la ONU de 2006 marca el punto de partida de la polémica por el cierre de los colegios de educación especial. El valor de la inclusión educativa es incuestionable y desde la educación especial se desarrollan multitud de procesos innovadores para asegurar esas oportunidades para alumnos con discapacidad.
No es admisible por más tiempo la segregación educativa por razón de discapacidad. Es un imperativo jurídico internacional de derechos humanos comprometido por España con la comunidad internacional y con el sistema de Naciones Unidas. En el caso de la discapacidad parece que forma parte del paisaje, que se acepta con naturalidad y que no provoca especial escándalo, pero no deja de ser una segregación por razón de una diferencia. Se trata de una violación grave de derechos humanos. Proponemos que en el plazo de 5 años desde que se adopte tendríamos ese lapso para migrar de estructuras no inclusivas a estructuras inclusivas. Que no se creen ni se pongan en servicio más centros de educación especial y que no se admitan más alumnos con discapacidad en los centros especiales, deberían ser declarados a extinguir, que subsistan hasta su completa desaparición.
Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta, y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor, y saber qué programación es tu favorita. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así, más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación. Muchas gracias. Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.